Dementia. Okay. Continue. Should I just press?
No.
Yes, I have to. Okay. Dementia is a lost cognitive function to such extent that interferes with a person's daily life and activity. It may cause memory loss, language skills, visual perception, problem solving, self-management, and ability to focus and pay attention. So you were saying before that you were not sure about dementia, right?
I didn't know there was that many sections of it.
Yes. Well, dementia is just a word, like an umbrella, to describe these symptoms. But these symptoms are caused by something else. I'm going to be a little slow here, and okay.
Just use this.
The page?
No. The arrow.
The end. Okay.
Yeah.
So dementia is an umbrella term that describes memory loss, confusion, repeating yourself, getting lost. It's an umbrella. And that's, it's caused, like I said, by something else. Most of the times, 70 to 80% of the time, is caused by Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia. But we're going to talk about other dementias. Alzheimer's is the number one. Number two is frontotemporal dementia, includes many subtypes. Lewy body dementias with Lewy bodies, Parkinson's disease, vascular dementia. Vascular dementia is a post-stroke dementia, multifactorial dementia, and more. I want to play a little video for you that really explains Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's, like we said, it was the most common form of dementia, and this is going to give you an overall great picture of what Alzheimer's is. Okay.
We may not be able to do
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe here.
No, neither. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry about this, guys. Give us just 1 minute for technical difficulties. Yeah, exactly, Carrie. You're doing.
Okay.
things.
Sorry.
I don't know what you're doing now.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I think in presentation mode, the embedded video doesn't play.
Is that true?
I'm not getting it from my end either.
You're not
So
at all
we're not going to be able
either.
to see it.
Okay. So what I can try, if somebody wants to, if you guys want to bear with us for 1 second, we can try to escape it, and I can actually play it here.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it says code is unavailable. So we're just going to have to continue from our current slide.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I'm sorry, we won't be able to play the video.
Okay.
Okay. So there.
I know.
I can act it out for you, but.
I can, yeah, I'm
I
trying.
think this is a sin. Neighborhood complaints is never anything for us old people.
Oh,
Nobody comes.
yeah.
We have some people on virtual, right? We have some statistics here. Alzheimer's disease is the global epidemic. At least 44 million people worldwide are living with dementia. I think this is a very interesting one. New Jersey is the 8th state in the highest percentage of people over the age of 65 living with Alzheimer's. The 8th state. Alzheimer's disease is the 7th leading cause of death in New Jersey and the 5th for women in New Jersey. Every 66 seconds, someone gets diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. So these are really interesting statistics about an epidemic that we are living.
Can I say
Yes,
something
yes.
Yeah. I also want to share the fact, this is interesting, from the Department of Health and Human Services from the United States, they have classified Hudson County as the 4th highest county with the highest amount of people living with dementia in the country. So we ourselves here in Hudson County are fighting an epidemic. And it's something that we have to pay attention to. So the fact that all of you have joined us today to learn as much as you can about this disease and how you can possibly prevent it is an important step in your brain health. And that's what we want you guys to pay attention to, right?
2/3 of Americans with Alzheimer's are women.
We do a lot of thinking.
We do a lot of thinking and not enough sleep, right? So causes and risk factor. Still the causes and risk factor, the number one is age, okay? The higher in age we go, the chances get,
He's gonna be 91 next week.
oh, God bless you. Happy birthday. Family history. My mom had Alzheimer's. Her sister had Alzheimer's. My mother had 9 brothers. None of them had Alzheimer's. Their mom had Alzheimer's. I just turned 60 in December of last year. So I could be one of those family history. Okay. But I'm trying to do all the right things. I lost 50 pounds. I work out. I try to eat right. I'm trying to do all the right things. Head injury. Now we are watching out the football players. Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's for many years. Later on in his disease of Parkinson's, he developed Alzheimer's. Also boxers, soccer players, even in a car accident, high blood pressure, heart disease, poor diet, strokes, smoking, alcohol use, and diabetes. These are the causes and risk factors. This is what science is telling us. But we can make a little change in our lives just by changing just a few things. Staying active, for one thing. We got to move the skeleton. You know, if we don't do something, we get stiff, right? So get a good night's sleep. A lot of studies have been done now at sleep, not just in the United States, but worldwide. We need to sleep minimum of 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours, okay? Socialization, you know, COVID really did a thing on us. Kept us at home, isolated. That really hurt, not only the senior population, but the young population too. So socialization is something that's really, really important for our brain health. I know you're dying to get in here, aren't you?
No.
Okay. Mental stimulation, continue to learn new stuff. This is medicine for the brain. This is why little kids don't get Alzheimer's, because from the time we're born, we're going to school, we're learning new stuff. So mental stimulation is learning new stuff, always. Mindfulness and nutrition. I have a saying, since I lost the 50 pounds, we are what we eat. So we have to watch out. We have to, you know, it's not just, we're not just going to leave it in the hands of our doctor. We have to do our part too. And since I understand a little better now, Alzheimer's and dementia, I thought that by losing the 50 pounds, the working out, all that contributes to good health, good brain health. She's jumping in here.
No, and just we're like a tag team. So you're going to get 2 for the price of 1 today. No, the important thing to recognize is the fact that science does not know exactly what causes dementia. So what they have learned so far is what it appears to be is a combination of lifestyle, environment, and genetics. So our genetics, we cannot necessarily control, correct? But we can control somewhat of our environment and definitely our lifestyle, which is all these things back here. This is what we can control. So if we can change this, I can tell you for one thing, if you change your diet alone, you can reduce your risk factor by developing Alzheimer's disease by 35%. So it's an incredible thing. Just by changing your diet, we can reduce our risk factor by 35%. So I know everyone talks about how, oh, you know, eat right, work out, but guess what? It's true. And it can make all the difference in the world. And what science is even learning now, even more, is that getting a good night's sleep is becoming the #1 most important thing you can do. All right. And we're going to go through all of these topics one at a time.
Yes.
We don't have any trouble sleeping.
Good. That's what we want to hear. Hi. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Know the benefits of exercise and physical activity. Keep and improve your strength. Have more energy, improves your balance, manages and prevents some diseases, perks up your mood, better sleep when you work out, reduces levels of stress, loses weight, that was me, control your blood pressure, possibly improves your and maintain some of your aspects of cognitive functions. So when we work out, it's not only for balance or for getting strong, it's all the above. It's like what we were saying before, like what Christine was saying. You want to jump in here again?
Yeah,
don't you?
no, it's just important. No, but it's important to realize that, yes, exercise is extremely important. That doesn't mean you have to go out and run a 5K marathon.
No marathon running.
Okay? It just means we have to move the body at
However,
least 1 hour a day.
Our mayor has the 5K run.
Oh, yes, Mayor Saka's 5K walk run is coming up.
Yes, and we will be there.
Most definitely.
I make it 14 steps in my house to go to the bathroom, that's it.
Oh, come on.
Well, you know what, maybe tomorrow, because you know what it is, it's
You might
about,
go up and down.
I want you to take 20 steps.
Instead of
There's only
14.
18 there.
Well, then
Oh.
you gotta go back a little bit and then go forward again. It's about even making one small change a day. So one small thing, and we have a whole list of things that we're going to talk about what you can do, but even changing at least one of those things in one day will start to make your difference. That's all.
Probably heard that physical activity
Oh, it
and
works.
exercise is good for you, but did you know it can help you prevent dementia? Most people tend to focus on one type of exercise or activity, and they think they're doing enough. Research has shown that it's important to get all 4 types of exercise: endurance, strength, balance, and flexibility. Endurance, also known as aerobic, are activities that increase your breathing and heart rate. These activities help keep you healthy, improve your fitness, and help you perform the tasks you need to do every day. Physical activities that build endurance include brisk walking, yard work, like mowing and raking, dancing, jogging, swimming, biking, climbing stairs or hills, playing tennis, and playing basketball. Our safety tips include the following. Number 1, do a little light activity such as easy walking before and after your endurance activities to warm up and cool down. Number 2, listen to your body. Endurance activities should not cause dizziness, chest pain, or pressure, or a feeling like heartburn. Number 3, be sure to drink liquids when doing any activity that makes you sweat. Number 4, if you're going to be outdoors, be aware of your surroundings. Number 5, dress in layers so you can add or remove clothes as needed for hot and cold weather. Number 6, to prevent injuries, use safety equipment such as a helmet when bicycling. Your muscular strength can make a big difference. When you have strong muscles, you can get up from a chair by yourself with your grandchildren and walk to a park. Strength exercises include lifting weight and using a resistance band. If you would like to use a resistance band, hold on to the band tightly or wrap it around your hand or foot to keep it from slipping and causing possible injury. Our safety tips include the following. Number 1, don't hold your breath during strength exercises. Breathe regularly. Number 2, breathe out as you lift or push, and breathe in as you relax. Number 3, talk with your doctor if you're unsure about a particular exercise. Balance exercises help prevent falls, a common problem in older adults that can have serious consequences. Many lower body strength exercises also will improve your balance. Balance exercises include Tai Chi, but you can also try standing on one foot, then the other, or try the heel to toe walk. We have 2 safety tips for you. Number 1, talk with your doctor if you're unsure about a particular exercise. And number 2, have a sturdy chair or a person nearby to hold onto if you feel unsteady. Stretching can improve your flexibility. Moving more freely will make it easier for you to reach down to tie your shoes or look over your shoulder when you back up your car. Some good exercises to try are the calf stretch exercise and the ankle stretch exercise. Our safety tips include: number 1, stretch when your muscles are warmed up. Number 2, stretch after endurance and strength exercise. Number 3, don't stretch so far that it hurts. Number 4, always remember to breathe normally while holding a stretch. And number 5, talk with your doctor if you are unsure about a particular exercise.
That was one of our interns on her voice.
Yes, she created it. Now we're going to talk about sleep. We were saying before that sleep is important for brain health. When you get a good night's sleep, the next day you wake up a little more refreshed, more willing to learn, to create new memories, respond quickly, solve problems, pay attention, make decisions, be creative. When you don't sleep, the next day, no matter who talks to you, even if they cut you in front of you on the road, you're not the same person. You're upset, you're quick, you're irritable, and you don't really pay attention as much. And one of the things that it says here is obesity. And it's true, because sometimes the brain doesn't understand whether it's tired or it's hungry. So you tend to eat more when you don't get a good night's sleep. It raises your blood pressure. It affects your heart disease, diabetes, depression, and Alzheimer's. Come on up here.
So here's a fun little fact. So the reason why sleep is so important, why we need to get 7 to 8 hours sleep, because that's the time that the brain has this natural cleansing effect. So if you think you go to sleep at night and all that plaque and that builds up in the brain. So plaque is what causes Alzheimer's disease. Think of plaque in your teeth. Well, it's very similar. Plaque builds up like that in your brain. But while we're sleeping, the brain naturally flushes out that plaque. So guess what happens if we don't sleep? The plaque starts to build up and build up and build up. And what happens when that plaque builds up is it actually kills the brain cells. And when we kill the brain cells, that's when we start to develop dementia. And we lose the ability to speak. We lose our memory. We lose the ability to control our emotions. So sleep is really important. And it happens several times during the night. So you have to go through the full REM sleep, right? You've got to reach each cycle of sleep several times throughout the night to get the full cleansing effect, to get rid of as much plaque as we can. Now, as we age, that cleansing system actually does slow down. We're not going to clean as much plaque out of the brain at 80 that we can at 20, right? But that's a natural part of the aging process. But still, we want to get as much sleep as we can, at least 7 to 8 hours, to sweep those plaques away, to stop them from killing our brain cells and developing dementia. That makes sense? Okay. I always think of a little janitor, a little guy with a broom, in my brain at night. He comes out in the middle of the night and sweeps them out. And then I wake up and I'm all good.
That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. So you say you have no problem sleeping. How many hours do you guys sleep?
9, sometimes 8, 9.
Oh, nice.
That's good though. It's a good amount of time.
But
Sleep.
it's interrupted sleep though.
Well, as long as you can fall back to sleep easily, that's what's important. I want to get it there.
Okay.
It's just, yeah,
It's not
We all-
solid sleep.
well, we all wake up normally throughout the night. We have to go to the restroom. So the important factor is that you do come to bed and you fall back to sleep, hopefully as quickly as possible. If you're having problems falling back to sleep, it's important to then get out of bed. They actually recommend you don't lay in bed and watch TV. You can actually, if you want to stay in bed, you can read a book or do something like that. Don't turn on the computer or get on your phone. Blue lights from the computer screen and the TV screen interfere with your ability to sleep. So that's why they don't recommend we watch TV before we go to bed. So if you can't sleep, the good thing is to read a book and hopefully naturally fall asleep. You can also use a white noise machine. You can even get that on your phone. It's just noise that helps you sleep, like with the beach in the background or the waves crashing. This natural waves or a little bit of music in the background, very light, like spa music, can help you fall back to sleep. So that's what's important, is to try to fall back to sleep as quickly as you can.
And I always say that if this continues to happen, that you can't sleep, talk to your doctor. Your doctor can guide you and tell you more or less what.
I know I don't have time, but I do. Yeah. But I do want to tell you, there's a trick from the military that tries to teach people how to fall asleep in 2 minutes. And what it is, you're going to lay back and you're going to relax on your back. Everything is totally relaxed. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to concentrate on your breathing. And then what you do is you try to relax every muscle in your body, starting from your head. So you're actually breathing in and you're relaxing your head muscles, your face, you're relaxing your eyes, you're relaxing your chest, you're relaxing your arms, and you're slowly working your way down your entire body to completely relax your body while concentrating on your breathing. If your heart is racing, you know that you can actually control your heartbeat. So you can slow down your heart's rhythm by concentrating on your breathing and slowing all of your processes down, and it actually works. Might not work in 2 minutes for all of us. This is something that gets better with practice. But veterans and people in the military used to use it all the time when they were out in the field at war. You know, you had to catch a moment of sleep at any moment's notice. And so they would do this training for 2 minutes. And eventually, even in the middle of war, they were able to fall asleep. So if they can do it, we can do it.
We can try, yes. We
Yes,
can
question.
absolutely try.
Question.
Two things from the chat box. One of our virtual attendees suggests radio and fans if you
Yep.
have football and
Absolutely.
And we had a question, what is restless leg syndrome?
Oh, restless leg syndrome. Yeah, I actually think I suffer from it myself. So restless leg syndrome is something that can keep you up. It's exactly what it says. Your legs are restless. They cannot sit still. It's a medical condition, so it's something that does have to be treated by a doctor. It doesn't have anything to do with dementia or developing dementia in any way, but it is something that that person needs to speak to their doctor about, because it can most definitely keep you up at night. It's very uncomfortable feeling if you feel like, you know, you have to keep moving your ankles and my calves, and I have that feeling quite often. Sometimes that happens when you're dehydrated. So if you don't necessarily have restless leg syndrome, but you have that feeling of restless legs, that can be a circulation issue and also related to dehydration. So it's about drinking water to get rid of it.
Okay, you're welcome. So sleep disorders become more common with age, including insomnia, sleep apnea, restless legs, like the person in the chat, restless leg syndromes.
Getting a good night's sleep is important to your well-being. The way you feel while you're awake depends in part on what happens while you're sleeping. During sleep, your body is working to help your brain and body be at their best. Many older adults don't sleep well. Factors such as illness, medications, mental health, and pain can make it hard to get a good night's sleep. Here are some tips to help you sleep better. Follow a regular schedule by going to sleep and getting up at the same time each day, even on weekends and when traveling. Have a bedtime routine. Find ways to relax before bedtime each night. Read a book, listen to soothing music, or take a warm bath. Make your room comfortable for sleep and keep the temperature not too hot or cold. Try to get regular exercise, but not within 3 hours of your bedtime. You should also talk to your doctor if you have a persistent problem sleeping. Avoid taking naps in the late afternoon or evening. Don't have caffeine late in the day, which can keep you awake at night. For example, coffee, tea, chocolate, and soda. Also, don't drink alcohol, even small amounts. Don't watch television or use a computer, cell phone, or tablet in the bedroom. And finally, don't eat large meals within 2 to 3 hours of your bedtime or drink large amounts of liquid late in the day.
All the things we discussed, right?
Yeah. All the wonderful things we definitely do, or shouldn't do. Socialization. We were talking about socialization earlier. People who engage in social activities have a longer lifespan, feel happier, less depressed, are better prepared to cope with loss, are less likely to develop certain diseases, may be able to improve their thinking skills. Any questions? This is
talk to some people, you get depressed.
Yes.
You know, we have a wonderful senior center here in North Bergen.
Yeah,
Have you been to it, the Nutritional Senior Center? That's a great center. It's a lot of socialization. They play games. They have us speak there. They have dancing. They have Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Okay, interruption.
No. It's just important that we realize with socialization, it's important that we make not only a physical connection with people, but an emotional connection. And it's important that we have these conversations with people and we share and we fight and we debate. All of those things in socialization is what keeps the brain active. So even if it's such a small thing, even if it's, even, you know, when during COVID, it was so very difficult for all of us to socialize with one another, but getting on those Zoom classes when we could, if we had the technology, and if not, even getting on the phone, just connect with someone in your life that means something to you every day.
Think of your brain, your cells, like electricity. When you're socializing, all the neurons are speaking to one another. So that's good, because when they're speaking to one another, there's movement up there.
Yeah.
But so by socialization, you get this kind of activity in your brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know, it's never too late to build new neural connections in the brain. It's never in, maybe we can't build as many connections as we did when we were 5 and our brains were growing and there were millions of connections being made every single day of our life. Well, now we can still make these connections by socializing, by keeping physically fit, by engaging ourselves, engaging our brain on a daily basis. So the more neurons that we can build as we age, the more protection we have against getting dementia.
Mental stimulation. Okay. We were talking about mental stimulation before, is learning new stuff. When you learn new things, you are improving your cognitive ability. Your neurons are being built, being restored, they're getting stronger. So when you learn new things, this is what keeps us healthy, what keeps the brain healthy. It challenges yourself to continue to learn. Learn at least one thing a day. Learn to play an instrument. Learn to dance. Learn to cook. Learn. You know, I hear people tell me all the time, oh, I read all the time. I'm an avid reader. Well, what do you read? I read love stories. I've been reading love stories for 20 years. Well, that's not new and that's not challenging. You have to challenge yourself. You have to learn new things. Magazine, newspapers, coming here to the library, picking up a different book every week or every 2 weeks. These are the challenges that our brain needs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have something to say for every single point. But the important thing is, the best way to learn the best fight we have against developing dementia when we're learning something new is learn to play a musical instrument or learn a new language. So the part of the
new
brain,
language, even if you're never going to speak it,
yeah,
it's okay.
studying
Just the fact
studying
that
a
you're
new
learning
language.
it.
The issue is because dementia develops quite quickly in the language sector of the brain. It's usually one of the first abilities that you can lose. So it's important to sort of rebuild that strength in our language capacities. So that would be my number one suggestion, is to do that. And also keep in mind, people often think, well, I'm getting older and I can't learn something new. No, that's not true. Now, somebody who's living with some form of dementia, guess what? They're not able to learn something new. And that's because of the short-term memory loss. That's because of the damaged brain that they have incurred. Dementia is what we call it. Now, I want you to think of people with dementia as having a damaged brain. They have brain damage. So it's impossible for them to learn something new. They might be able to do it in that moment, in that second, but they won't be able to do the same thing tomorrow. And so that's a good thing. If you can still learn something new, guess what? Your brain is still intact. So let's keep it that way.
Knitting. I had a lady yesterday tell me that she picked up knitting again. You know, these are things that are good for us, to learn new stuff, new things. I always say variety is the spice of life, right? Okay, so key elements of healthy eating patterns. We have a book. I gave you the book. It's a great book. Following a healthy eating pattern across the lifespan. You know, nutrition. You want to talk about this part, the nutrition part?
Nutrition is all about the brain health and what we call the mind diet. So have you heard of the Mediterranean diet? Right? So it's a lot of fish, it's a lot of fruits, it's a lot of vegetables, it's a lot of whole grains. What you won't see in the mind diet is a lot of sugar, a lot of meat, and a lot of fat. So it's like what we've always heard, we need to eat a healthy diet, high in green leafy vegetables, high in grains, fish at least once to 3 times a week. And I'm really referring to mostly fish like salmon or mackerel or sardines because they're high in fish oil. So they're high in antioxidants. That's the best thing that we can do to fight dementia. But it's important. I don't know which one you brought up. Okay, so these are just all eating patterns. And this talks about, these are different training. I was talking about the Mediterranean style. They actually give you the breakdown of how many vegetables, fruits, grains, and proteins that you can eat, okay? And they're talking about, oh, these are ounces. That's in a week. That's very high. But as you see here, the dairy is also very low. So we always look at a lot of vegetarians are quite healthy and quite brain healthy, even vegans. They have no dairy in their diet. So it's important that we do this. But it's called the Mind Diet. We do actually have a flyer on the Mind Diet that I would love to be able, Chelsea, to even send out to you, that maybe we can send out to everyone who's here virtually. Yeah, but it gives you a great, not only talks about the diet, but it also talks about, it's like one sheet of paper that talks about these 6 pillars of brain health, which is so important.
Mind diet.
Yeah, and so this is really the Mind Diet, which I mentioned to you before, can reduce your risk factor by 35%. Guys, that is very significant. That's a very significant percentage amount. So what it says here, you want to at least have 3 servings of whole grains a day, a salad and 1 other vegetable, and the leafier, darker, greener your vegetable can be, the better. So carrots, okay, I'd rather you have a carrot than a potato maybe, but carrots aren't high in the nutrients that we need to fight the Mind Diet, and they have a lot of natural sugar. So you always want to stay more in the dark green leafy vegetables like kale and spinach. They have the most dense nutrients to fight brain damage, dementia, okay? We do want to have, you know what, you can drink, have you ever had green tea?
There's been some question about that.
Yeah, well, it does. So there are some people that want to say green tea can prevent dementia. That is not the case. Yeah. Okay, it's the same thing what they say about turmeric or coffee. They say that these things can prevent dementia. That's not true. We don't have any solid scientific proof that turmeric or green tea or anything else can definitely fight it.
If it's in a cup of nuts.
Yeah, at least 1 ounce. 1 ounce of
One
nuts.
ounce of nuts a day.
So nuts, you're talking mostly like almonds. We're not talking peanuts. We're talking almonds. Almonds was the best nut that you could have.
Cashews.
Cashews are
Yeah.
not bad.
If you go back, it might be in the.
Did they say? No, it doesn't.
Nuts, right?
Nuts, no, it just says
Nuts,
nuts,
seeds,
seeds, and soy
soy
products.
products.
Yeah, but the best nut you can have is an almond, by far. You should try to stay away from peanuts.
Yeah, they can walk.
They're
Yeah.
too, and they do have
That's why I
contain a
said
lot of
cashews.
fat. Yeah.
Yes, in this book,
Mhm.
everything we got that's up there is.
Yeah.
Oh, from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have fruit, you want to stay in the berry family. So you want to have strawberries, cranberries, blueberries, boysenberries, blackberries. And if we can eat a cup of berries
Eggplant.
a day, eggplant is considered a
Eggplant.
berry.
It's also a berry. Eggplant.
Eggplant.
It's a berry.
It's good.
Zucchini.
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
eggplant.
Yeah,
It's different
it's in
from
the same
zucchini.
family as zucchini.
Close.
Yes.
Zucchini's more like in the squash family, but they're
Yes.
still all really close.
Yes.
They're like brothers and sisters. They really are.
Yes.
But yeah, we want to have at least a whole cup of berries. If you're going to, when you're going to eat berries, eat a whole cup. That's why you're getting a high level of antioxidants and vitamins A and E, which can help prevent. Okay. And this is the part I hate. Only 1 tablespoon of butter a day. Gosh darn it. You definitely want to choose like an olive oil. Even we use a lot of, what is this? Safflower. Safflower oil is another good choice too.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you know, I think this is our last pillar of brain health is the mindfulness and spirituality. So listen, not all of us meditate. Not all of us are going to do Tai Chi or yoga. So I don't want you to think just of it as in spirituality. I want you to think about it as a time that you de-stress. Like set some serious time aside in your life, an hour, a half an hour, however much time you have available, where you are in a room, you are by yourself, and you are just relaxing. You can even do that You can do a deep breathing exercise. You can do the breathing exercise with also relaxing every muscle in your body. That little 2-minute exercise that I told you about from the veterans. Okay, so it's about de-stressing your life and realizing that that's an important step in trying to prevent developing dementia. And this is how a lot of people do it. So a lot of people will choose Tai Chi, or they'll do yoga, or the meditation. And doing this, the emotional benefits are quite incredible. And there have been people that have even talked about their chronic illnesses getting a little bit better and a little bit more able to be controlled because they have engaged in mindfulness.
And don't give up on the meditation.
Yeah.
It takes a very long time to meditate.
Mhm.
And you put into practice a little bit every day, and you'll feel better. You start with 5 minutes,
Mhm.
before you know it, you're doing 30 minutes.
But you're actually building a skill to
Mhm.
manage your stress.
Yes.
If you don't fall asleep.
If you don't fall
Well, if
asleep.
you do fall asleep, well, let's see, if it's in the middle of the day, because also about sleeping, if you're not a person that takes naps every day, then you don't want to start taking naps, right? So you have to, because that can actually interfere with your sleep at night. Okay. Not his, but okay. And the other thing that I like about mindfulness is that it keeps you in the present mode, right? So especially if we're stressed and worried about the future, or we're worried about our kids and what's going on in our lives and the lives of our family members, this is a moment that can keep you present in life. And that can be very helpful long-term, okay? There's even actually this really great app that you don't have to have a computer or anything. You can get it downloaded on your smartphone. It's called calm.com. And this teaches you about meditation. So and you can bring up, and it'll have a 3-minute meditation, or it'll have a 30-second meditation, about however much time you have, but it'll walk you through the steps and teach you how to meditate. So it's called calm, CALM.com. And you can get it on your phone, on your apps, okay? In your apps. It's a great way. So here's the thing. What can you do today to make a change in your life? Now, remember how I was talking to you about, you say you take 16 steps and that's your workout. And I said, well, tomorrow
13.
you're going to do 20. Okay.
Really not true. I go up the steps much more than once.
Well, that's good. That's good. But it's about, when you learn about these 6 pillars of brain health, there's got to be at least one that you can do tomorrow, right? Is there one thing that you can change? So you want to take small steps. It's not like tomorrow you're going to go, okay, I have to sleep better. I have to socialize. I have to go to the gym tomorrow, and I have to cook a healthy meal all in one day. No, let's take things one step at a time. The important thing is that you learn and create a new routine in your life. So change one thing tomorrow. Make one small minor change. And maybe that's adding a few steps to your walk, adding 10 minutes to your walk. Maybe switch out that baked potato for green leafy vegetable like spinach and kale. Okay, you can put a little bit of olive oil on it. Okay, garlic and olive oil, it'll be delicious. But making these one small steps every day is how we change our life. And we want that change to be permanent, right? So we want to make sure that we do take it slow and one step at a time. You could even make an appointment for a physical exam. We at Act Now Foundation, we also do cognitive assessments. So if you're concerned about your memory, you've never been tested by a doctor, you can come to us, or we can actually go to your home. We can do a one-on-one in-home private consultation where we give you the memory screening test and we have a conversation. Now, we're not doctors, we don't diagnose, but this is a really good first step to make sure that the memory concerns that you may be having are either a normal part of the aging process, or is it something that you should be more concerned about? Okay, so that's one step, right? You're making a health decision that I'm going to have my memory checked. And for everyone over the age of 60, you should do it once a year anyways. So that your first step can be with us. It can be with your doctor. So if you want to call your doctor and not only check your memory, but get a physical exam, right? Let's get a blood work done. Let's check and make sure that our thyroid and our vitamin B12 are all up and running correctly. because those can give you the same symptoms of dementia that dementia can. So these are things that I want you to do, to take one step at a time. And sometimes, like, I have a to-do list, long to-do list of everything I have to do. I have like short-term things I have to do, long-term goals of things I have to do. Sometimes it can help to write things down. Helps me remember them, but it also helps me prioritize what I have to do now, what I can do later. But it's okay to write things down. Yes, question.
Just to make the memory screening step really easy for everyone, we actually are having the memory screenings at the library next Tuesday, 10
that's
a.m. to 2 p.m. So if anyone wants to sign up for an appointment, you can either come see me after the event, or for those who are attending virtually, if you want to call the library, we can get you set up with an appointment.
That's perfect, Chelsea. I completely forgot. We're already, see, I forgot. We're already coming back here next week. So that's great. Thank you.
We're going to talk about forgetting, and maybe after this, telling forgetting and then later on remembering
Yeah.
what we say.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
We're getting towards the end. So I
Yeah.
don't want to forget.
This is, no, we are at the end. So again, this is all of our programs and services that we offer as a whole, as a nonprofit, and we are a nonprofit organization. So most of our funding comes from donations, and the city and county, your mayors, your legislators here in the city and county of Hudson County fund this program. This program is funded by Hudson County Office on Aging. So we're very grateful to that, and all of our programs that we run here. So that's why everything that we do for the community is free of charge for all of you. The memory screening that you'll get next week is free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything. This is, again, a program funded by the county. But I think, you know, Carrie wanted to make sure that I told you something important, that, you know, forgetfulness is a normal part of the aging process. I forget things all the time. That's why I have to write things down. But there comes a point where that memory loss gets progressively worse, right? So we all can forget to pay a bill. Yeah, I could forget to pay the mortgage,
Or the
and then,
taxes.
right? Or the taxes.
Or the taxes, then we get evicted.
Well, gosh, we hope that doesn't happen. But usually we remember later on. And that's a normal part of the aging process. What we just call that is a delay. So in other words, a delay is okay. Okay, that's what we have to remember. A delay is okay. But if you're having concerns and you feel like your memory concerns are getting progressively worse over months or years, again, dementia is not an acute condition. It doesn't develop in one day. It develops slowly over time. Okay, so you have to think back about how you've spent the last year of your life. And COVID-19 and being socially isolated, that could make the symptoms even worse. So you could have progressed in this last year living with COVID. And now that we've come out of COVID, now that you're back into normal life, your symptoms could have improved a little bit as well. But these are all questions that we can help you answer during a memory screening. Okay, so it's important. I hope that we do see you guys all here next week. Are there any more questions, Chelsea, from the group?
Yeah,
I have one here.
You see these medications on television. Is there any basis to helping?
So there's two different kinds of medications you probably see on TV. So we have actual medications that treat the symptoms of dementia or different types of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease. We have Aricept, Namenda, Exelon. There's quite a few medications that treat the symptoms. Now, these are actual medications. They're not over-the-counter drugs like Prevagen and things like that. Okay, so you're probably talking about two. Prevagen is like a vitamin. It is in a category of medications that are not approved by the FDA. They have no real scientific proof that they work. Are they harmful to you? Well, I can't really answer that question. I don't really know. If you think about it the same as vitamins, we don't think so. But there is no scientific proof that Prevagen or any of the other ones actually work. But it's the same thing like people take vitamins. We recommend all the time, take vitamin E, take vitamin A to help fight dementia. Take ginkgo biloba or ginkgo biloba. I can always forget it. So yeah, forget it. We say these things may help, but there's no scientific proof about it. The other medications that are not over the counter, that are prescribed by a doctor, don't treat the disease of dementia or Alzheimer's. They treat the symptoms. So it can appear to slow down the progression of the disease because we're trying to minimize the memory loss. We're trying to minimize the confusion. Although it does not stop the progression of the disease, but because it minimizes the symptoms, it gives you a higher quality of life, which is important. So the earlier that you get diagnosed, the better. The earlier you get diagnosed, the earlier you can start on this 6 pillars of brain health to change your risk factor. The earlier you can start the medications that are developed for Alzheimer's disease, if it's appropriate for you. That's what early diagnosis does. And that's why one of our key programs is our evaluations testing. We feel it's very important to get people diagnosed as quickly as possible. Not only can you start changing your lifestyle, you can start preparing for a future. Unfortunately, Alzheimer's disease and related dementias is a progressive terminal illness. So you
there are
will
other things also that may cause some memory problems. And this is one of the reasons why we tell people to go to the doctor. If you have a urinary tract infection and you don't know about it, that can cause some memory issues.
They can cause the same symptoms as dementia. Disorientation, confusion, and memory loss, personality changes, all because of a urinary tract infection, an upper respiratory infection, correct? And so what happens is because there's a stigma associated with this disease, people become afraid that, oh my gosh, I have dementia. And I don't want anyone to know. I don't want my family to know. I don't want my friends to know. So they don't go to the doctor. They don't get diagnosed. Well, guess what? If you had gone to the doctor and found out it was just a thyroid condition
or urinary
tract infection, you got the right antibiotic or thyroid medicine, and those symptoms, guess what? Reverse.
Because that's another thing. If you have thyroid problems, it can affect your memory also.
So can depression. It's another risk factor. Yeah.
So when you go to a new doctor, they make you fill out all your medicine. And if you don't, and they prescribe something new and it clashes with what you're taking, it can cause dementia-like symptoms also.
Yeah.
So we always tell the clients, if you are feeling that you are forgetting stuff, you are getting lost, you're repeating yourself, you don't feel the same, see your doctor first. Okay, go to your doctor because it could be as simple as a blood test or a urine test.
And I will tell you, actually, we should have a blood test that can detect Alzheimer's disease within the next year or two. So that's the most promising thing when we talk about early diagnosis. There is a new medication that just got fast approval from the FDA to fight Alzheimer's disease. But unfortunately, it's going to be stuck in the clinical trial phase for quite a while. So it's not something that's actually going to be on the market, which I agree with. It still has a lot of testing that needs to be done. It has unproven it has side effects that are quite severe. But it's the first new medication that's been fast approved into over 20 years.
That's the new one, is it AB?
Yeah, Angelum, or yes.
Well,
yes.
yeah, close.
Yeah, so it is. So we're on the right track. We're thankful that they have done the approval process, but we still need a lot of testing to go forward. So we do have a lot of other drugs that are still almost in the last phase of clinical trials that are going to be up for the approval process with the FDA as well. So there's hope on the horizon. It just may not be in time for you or for me, but maybe for my kids, if I had kids, but but my nieces and my nephews and so forth. But the good thing is that the blood test will be available within the next 2 to 3 years, and that should be a good positive plus for everybody. So everybody will start to get diagnosed a little bit earlier, which is important. Yes.
I noticed sign says Alzheimer's Resource Center.
Yeah.
And I've always known Alzheimer's to be a type of dementia.
Correct.
And looking at the dialogue, my thinking and the dialogue are definitely in synchronicity. Why is the name Alzheimer's Resource Center instead of Dementia Resource Center?
Well, I'm so happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
This actually happens to be an old picture. So the name of our organization is Act Now Foundation, but now we're a Dementia Resource Center. So because of that point, that very good point that you brought up, Alzheimer's is only one type of dementia. It is the most common type, but it's only one. So we thought it was important as well that we did change our name. Our official name is really Act Now Foundation, but we also add to our title Dementia Resource Center, which is now on our business card. So it's official, it's official. Yeah, and we're the only organization in the state of New Jersey really that's focused on dementia and not Alzheimer's as a whole.
Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, there's a couple questions
Okay.
in the chat, I'll read out loud.
Great.
The first question, what
Okay.
age do we need to start being concerned about Alzheimer's?
Well, I never like to say at what age we need to be start to be concerned. So at age 60 is when we really say, okay, this is when you should start to get your memory checked on a regular basis. However, it is uncommon for somebody younger than the age of 60 to develop some form of dementia, but it is not unheard of. It's about 5% of cases are under the age of 60. So what we suggest is if you're under the age of 60, but you have serious concerns, so there are things happening in your life that are concerning to you about your memory, doesn't matter how old you are, you should get it checked.
See your doctor. You don't have
Yeah.
to see a neurologist, just see
No.
your regular physician.
Mhm.
Awesome, thank you. The next question from the chat box, how important is family history for the risk of Alzheimer's versus environmental factors?
Yes. So another good question. Yes, genetics absolutely plays a part in developing this disease. It too is very low on the risk factors. So very few
10%?
people, not even, it's like, I think
8
it's
to 10
actually 5%. Yeah, 10% are the cases under the age of 60, but 5% of cases are genetic based. And the reason for that is, and we do have a genetic test. You can have your genes tested for the APOE4 gene. That is the Alzheimer's gene, right? And the issue that we always tell people, don't get tested, because even if you carry the APOE4 gene, it doesn't mean you're going to develop Alzheimer's disease. And, right, it could become like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because as we've heard, stress is a huge risk factor for developing Alzheimer's.
Yes, ma'am.
So-
BRCA test then.
The what?
The BRCA test.
Now, the BRCA test, I believe, is for breast cancer.
No, it's for everything.
For everything. Well, I don't know that there's something very specific for Alzheimer's, and we have to check. There are what they call 10 alleles in the APOE4 gene line. And if you have one allele, that's not a big risk factor. That doesn't mean anything. But if you have 3, 4, 5, and 6, that does put you at a higher risk factor. But even if you do, unless you have all 10 alleles or the one specific allele that's really important, it doesn't mean you're going to develop the disease. So we really, frankly, don't recommend, but it's a personal choice. Sometimes we really want to know, and it could be helpful. The earlier you do know, if you find out that you have the APOE4 gene and you have the alleles that are a huge risk factor, you know what you could do? You could completely change your lifestyle to try to reduce your risk factor a bit or slow down that progression, right?
But
Knowledge
in
is power.
the chat, the person is under 60. If she or he has some memory concern, they should speak with her doctor. It could be something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not necessarily always dementia.
Don't wait to turn 60 to get your memory checked.
Yes.
If you have issues, if you have memory concerns, go to
Speak
your
with
doctor,
your
now.
doctor.
Mhm.
The next question from the chat, can Alzheimer's be cured?
No.
No, unfortunately,
There
that's
is
what
no
we're
cure.
fighting for. That's what we're fighting for. But no, not right now.
The next question from the chat, why is dementia so widespread?
That is a good question. So this is when scientists have to believe that our lifestyle has a large thing, plays into it a lot.
A big role.
A big
in it.
role in people developing dementia or Alzheimer's. There's also more women that develop it than men. So we're looking at that and why that reason is. Is it
So far,
because
science believes it's because we live longer than men.
we live longer? We also have a more stressful life. We carry more of the burden of raising children on our
Right.
shoulders than men
pay
and
taxes.
so forth.
You hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, but yeah, it's that's it.
The next question from the chat, what is the number one thing we can do to prevent Alzheimer's?
Well, we just gave you a list of 6. Okay, so if I have to pick one, I can't really pick one. Can I pick 3? I mean, the top 3 are going to be sleep, your health, your eating, and your exercising. Those are going to be
And
the 3
also,
things.
for me,
3
would
things.
be learning something new.
Yeah,
You
that's
must
why I
learn.
say, you see, we
You
can't pick
must
one.
learn.
We can't pick one, I'm sorry.
Continue to learn.
You gotta do all 6,
You have to.
one at a
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
And the final thing from the chat is a story rather than a question. She writes, my mom just died of dementia, COVID, and other things. She was bedbound for 5 years at home, unable to stand or walk. I want to know which type of dementia she had, but because we not have her tested, we'll never know.
Unless you decided to donate her brain to science for an autopsy, they would be able to decipher between a few types of dementia, maybe not all of them, but they would have a very good picture. But again, if that was in the past, unfortunately. And it brings up a good point though. This is why we also talk to people. We do have these end of life conversations, because if you have any form of dementia, you need to start preparing for that time when you're going to transition to the afterlife, right? You have to start preparing. That means making the decisions about what you want done with your brain. Do you want to donate your brain to give back to science so people can learn more, so that we can study what happened to you? How do you want to live at the end of your life should be your choice. Don't wait to make those decisions until it's too late for you to make them on your own. Again, another reason why early diagnosis is important, so that you can make your own choices about how you choose to live at the end of life. I'm happy to hear that.
You're right.
Yeah. That's it.
Thank you. That was all.
Great questions, you guys.
Thank
Great
you.
story. Thank you for sharing your personal story with us. That means a lot, and I'm very sorry for your loss. And thank you guys very much for coming. We appreciate it, both virtually and in person.
I want to say a big thank you for everyone for coming out tonight, both again, as we said, both virtually and in person to attend. And I want to say a big thank you to you guys for volunteering your time tonight, for coming out and giving this wonderful presentation.
You're
Thank you so
very
much for
welcome.
listening.
Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome.
You're very
Bye,
welcome.
guys.